less expensive. No, not less. Yeah, less expensive compared to the OpenSea. They do have Ethereum network, but the best thing about it is definitely it's on the BSC. I'm not going to comment on how secure Binance Smart Chain network is, but I'm just going to state that BSC network allows a lot of retailers for people like who don't want to spend too much money, but just want to dip their feet into it. A lot of people use BSC networks to try and what cryptocurrency is like. All right, so refinable. I'm going to have my colleague here, Max, who is the community manager of Genesis Block. He will be talking about the different types of wallets and also in terms of security and how to actually protect yourself from being hacked. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Max. I'm the community manager at Genesis Block. So just a quick overview. How many of you guys have set up a crypto wallet before? All right, a decent few of you. All right, next slide, please. So wallets in general can be divided into two categories. You have hot wallets and cold wallets. Hot referring to always online, and you have cold wallets, which are actual physical devices. We call them cold wallets because they're not always connected online. Next slide. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the different wallets. So in the early days of Bitcoin, you had paper wallets, and behind all this technology of crypto wallets is actually made up of two different things. You have the public address, which is kind of like your email address, your phone number, a mailing address, and this is what is needed. It's a string of digits and characters, and this is what is needed to transfer cryptocurrency to your wallet. And then you also have your private keys. This is a list of 12 to 24 different words or characters, and this is what keeps your wallet secure. And we have a saying in crypto is that if it's not your keys, it's not your wallet. So you'll see later why these are important. Next slide, please. So nowadays you have your mobile wallets. You have Trust Wallet, which is probably one of the more common used for storing Bitcoin. And then you have, sorry, next, go back. And sorry, can you go back to the next slide? So this is actually really simple. Nowadays you have this QR code. So you can actually just scan that QR code and it'll have all your information. So it's very easy to send funds. Sort of how we use PayMe or Venmo or PayPal. It's very similar. Next, please. For those that want a larger kind of full screen interface, you also have desktop wallets. They also have integration with the hardware wallets, which I'll talk to about a little bit later. Some of them also provide customer support, so which is good if you're new to crypto and you want someone to kind of talk to you on the phone to kind of guide you through. That's sort of what we do at Genesis Block as well, helping our clients get their wallet set up. Next slide, please. And yes, now we have hardware wallets. So as I mentioned earlier, this is probably the most secure way to store your cryptocurrency. It basically works like a small USB device that you stick into your computer, and you're able to transfer your crypto funds to this device. And it's the most secure because it's not always connected to the internet, keeping you safe from hackers. Next slide. Next we have web wallets. And as you can see here, this is MetaMask. MetaMask is probably the most commonly used crypto wallet because it allows you to connect to different blockchains. But before I get into that, I want to talk about two different types of web wallets. You have non-custodial, like MetaMask, which, as I mentioned before, you get your private keys, so you have an extra layer of security there. And then you have custodial wallets. Custodial wallets usually come in the form of using exchanges such as Binance, FTX, and Coinbase. And although they are secure in a sense, that, I'm sure they have very high encryption, at the end of the day, you don't have your private keys. So if anything were to happen to Binance or Coinbase or FTX, you're technically at risk, with all the regulators and stuff like that. So that's just something to think about between non-custodial and custodial wallets. Next slide, please. So the MetaMask, for those that haven't set up a wallet, it's actually quite simple. It's basically as easy as installing a browser extension on Chrome or Firefox. You click through setting up an account, and then you'll be given a secret backup phrase. As I was explaining earlier, this is very important, and it's important that you write it down in a notebook or piece of paper. Do not take a screenshot, do not put it on a Word doc, because that's still putting you at risk. It's still on your computer, and there's a little chance that you could be hacked or you could be hacked, but the safest way to secure it is to put it offline. Next slide, please. Same thing with Trust Wallet. You'll see the same similar recovery phrases. So if you were ever to get a new phone, before you can restore your account, you'll need to have your recovery phrases. So as you can see, the common trend here, a lot of these wallets all have some sort of recovery phrases, and that's why it's very important to keep them safe. Next slide. So we're talking a little bit about MetaMask, as I mentioned earlier. The great thing about MetaMask is the default blockchain is Ethereum, but it allows you to connect to other blockchains such as Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, and I won't get into too much of the technical details, but there's pros and cons to using each of them. But if you're connecting to a new blockchain for the first time, it's also good practice to make sure you're also putting yourself at risk. So before you connect to a new blockchain, it's always good to double check. Next slide, please. So I kind of covered a little bit, but just to give you a general summary of some good crypto practices, or I guess security in general, is step one is use a password manager. So you have LastPass, OnePass, Bitwarden. These are all kind of the industry standards when it comes to password managers. The good thing about a password manager is you can store all your sensitive information. It will generate a password for you, and you don't even need to memorize it. It will autofill in your logins for you. But you still need a good password to access your good password manager. So what is a good password? Some common methods are using 4 random words, or what I personally like to use is take a sentence that you'll remember, like, my office is at 269 Smith Road next to 7-Eleven. So you take the first digit or first letter of that sentence and you turn it into a password. So there you have a randomized uppercase, lowercase digits, but you'll remember that first sentence, and that's a good password you can use for your password manager. And with the password manager, it's easy to never reuse the same password. You just need to know that one kind of master password. Third thing is, in the digital age, yes, we have everything backed up to the cloud. You get a new iPhone instantly. You have everything backed up. It's great, but you should always audit what is automatically being uploaded into the cloud. So sometimes you might have sensitive information, and as I said before, you don't want to take a screenshot of your private keys, and then suddenly it's uploaded in the cloud and you're vulnerable. So it's good you have these backup services, but always check what is automatically being synced and uploaded to the cloud. The last step is using a Google Authenticator, or what we call a two-factor authentication, so a 2FA. And you can easily get a Google Authenticator app on your phone, and this is basically just a one-time code, so every time you log in, you just need to open your phone, and the Google Authenticator will generate a one-time code. So this is just an easy extra layer of security that you can add. Some practices to avoid, I think, I kind of sound like a broken record here, but don't store your password on the password manager, because that's also, if that were to get hacked, you're susceptible. And same thing with wallets. Do not keep your crypto assets all in one wallet. It's as easy as setting up a new email to make a new wallet, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's not like going to a bank and opening a new bank account. You can easily create multiple wallets for free. So it's good practice to have a few different wallets so you can kind of spread out your assets. And lastly, do not link your password recovery just to your email or mobile phone, because if it's so easy for you to get your password back, that means if people are trying to hack you, it's probably really easy for them as well, right? So this is why I generally recommend a 2FA, a Google Authenticator, to add that extra layer of security. And lastly, We always say in crypto, do your own research, don't trust, verify. For anything that you're investing into, it's good to at least read the white paper, go on the website, go on their Twitter, find out how many followers they are, find out if it's actually a legitimate project before you invest in it. All right, next slide, please. So how to obtain cryptocurrency? I'll just quickly run through different ways if you're new to crypto, how you can get invested. Next slide, please. So probably the easiest way and the low investment ways, there's ATMs all over Hong Kong. If you go on coinradar.com, you can find a full list. At our branches, we have ATMs as well. The downside to using an ATM is probably the high commission cost. I believe it's up to 10%. The good thing is there's no KYC process. If you just want to kind of get your feet wet, put in a couple $1,000s into Bitcoin or Ethereum, this is probably the easiest way to do it. Next slide, please. So then we have OTC, Genesis Block. If you guys are interested, we're happy to sit down with you and get you started. With OTC, there's lower commission costs. However, the transaction costs are usually higher. It's probably between $5,000 to $10,000 US dollars, depending on the firm that you're using. Next slide, please. And then lastly, you have exchanges like FTX, Binance, Coinbase. This is probably, if you know what you're doing, probably the easiest way to trade actively. They do have a KYC process, and with the regulators stepping in, like in Hong Kong, you have to be a professional investor before you can invest. So it's getting harder and harder these days to set up an account. I believe you can still make an account with Binance. So if you haven't made an account already, I suggest you do so. You don't have to actively trade, but having an account gives you another access, a waypoint to buy crypto. Next slide. And then lastly, P2T. This is kind of the old days in Bitcoin, early 2010s, where people were just kind of talking on forums. This is generally not encouraged these days because there's a lot of scammers out there, but it just goes to show if I know someone, I know your wallet address, I can easily send you crypto. All right, next slide. All right, so if you guys have any further questions, we do have a group chat on Telegram. You just scan this QR code. We have people on there like myself that are happy to answer any of your questions. If you ever want to know any information, you can come down to Genesis Swap. We have staff there that are happy to help you. All right, next slide. That's done? All right, that's it. Thank you very much. So up next, I believe we have Roy. All right.
Hello. Okay, welcome. My name is Roy. I'm the executive director of this NFT Impact show here. Welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm working for a tech company called Project Arc, and Project Arc is basically bringing nature and wildlife conservation projects together with artists in order to create NFTs that help to fundraise, these projects. Here we go. Can you please move on? So if you have questions and want to know about Project Arc, please scan the QR codes. So we started with Project Arc, creating NFTs for charities to help fundraise, and then we realized, hey, there's a demand for impact NFTs, and we wanted to show the world how you can create impact with NFTs. And this is how we came up with this idea of creating this exhibition. Because of that, we also created something called the ImpactNFT Alliance, because you can only go so far on your own, and this is why we started the Alliance, to basically bring everyone in the industry, from collectors, investors, technology providers together, to really push this idea of impact NFTs forward and create that impact. Next slide, please. So what is an impact NFT? So an NFT, as you might know already, it's a non-fungible token that's digital data stored on a blockchain. We are extending this a little bit further, that we say, hey, NFTs allowing not just artists or anyone who creates an NFT to create royalties to make money from future sales projects. So alongside the 17 UN SDG goals, as I said, we created the Impact NFT Alliance to not just focus on sustainability in terms of environment, but basically include all the 17 UN SDGs, including life on land, life on water, gender equality, fighting poverty, you name it, the 17 goals. So the idea of the NFT is not just allow the percentage and a regular income for these charities, but also actually use them to measure impact and track data. So an example, there's a technology provider called Chainlink who we are collaborating with, and you can embed that technology that allows real world information to be linked to that NFT. So an example, if that NFT has that technology enabled and it is raining, then it could rain on that NFT. Or in terms of impact, if that NFT supports growing panda population and all of a sudden the panda population goes up, that NFT will express that, and at the same time you can then unlock certain features as a corporate or as a brand to say, hey, everyone who buys this NFT can then get certain benefits, right? So this way we can invite corporates, not just individual art collectors, but also companies to use NFTs, especially impact NFTs, alongside the CSR strategy, and really use this as a powerful tool to showcase what they do, be transparent, and bring on board all their customers as well. So we have tonight here art partners in MV Art who are, we are honored to work with them, and they brought us an amazing artist called Vintage Mozart, where we will have in a few minutes a short conversation with them. So Vintage Mozart supports one of the amazing projects we were collaborating with. It's called the National Maasai. Next slide, please. So the National Maasai are an indigenous conservancy in Kenya. They're the first of their kind that actually own and operate that conservancy. And what they do is they're using their indigenous wisdom to combine that with modern science to actually really create an impact. And projects they're doing include from women empowerment, gender equality, fighting poverty, showing a real-world example how humans can live in peace and harmony with nature and animals. And we believe this project is so amazing alongside the 17 new SDGs. And yeah, please feel free, any questions, happy to assist. Thank you.
So, good evening everyone. Thanks so much, Roy. And before I start to explain my journey, I'd like to thank Lavina and the whole team of art partners. We have an amazing team, and I know the future will be bright for us as well, obviously on NFT and the art world. So let me start a short journey of myself. Originally, I come from the fashion industry, for a long time working with major brands, much involved with design, product development and production. 3 years ago I moved from Indonesia, I moved to Hong Kong. And obviously when working in the fashion industry, COVID hit really hard. Retail was down, and in a way also being quarantined. It was for me still with very much an entrepreneurial spirit. It was for me an amazing, let's say, experience to see the birth of Clubhouse. Clubhouse, I started to join in the beginning of February, and it was an amazing experience for me because there was a gathering of first I started to listen to all the crypto collectors, learned a lot from that. And then actually around, it was around end February, beginning of March, the whole NFT discussion started, and it became, it was growing with a tremendous speed. When in the beginning we were in a room with 30, 40 collectors, soon I found myself with around, let's say, 100 to 200 artists. It was an amazing time. Then mid-March, there was a very famous Twitter communication between people and Elon Musk. People has sold a 69 million NFT, and Elon Musk actually was challenging him, and a very famous tweet came out. And that actually, I feel that was a deciding moment. Actually, from around 15th, 16th of March, it grew very rapidly. And what did I do? And my friends know that. I was maybe 6, 8, 10, 12 hours a day on Clubhouse. And why did I do that? Because I found rooms where 99% of the people in the room were artists. So suddenly, and of course NFTs also was a perfect storm. The whole world was in lockdown. The whole art industry was on its knees. Galleries were closed, and suddenly there was the new space out there, digital art, and I listened with interest. Each artist introducing themselves, and through Twitter, Instagram, I could see their work, and I could even direct message and even organize Zoom calls. So, and soon around, I think the first artwork I bought was 16th of March, and I started buying. And at that time, there were very, very few collectors. They were mostly artists. So I was very quiet. I was not really the talkative guy. Normally I talk, but not between a field of artists. And I started buying. And of course, when you start doing that in a market that is mostly artists, you get noticed. So I myself was there. There was another fellow collector called Q Clubhouse on Instagram, and Q and I, we always, every 2 to 3. And since then, actually, it has grown with a space that nobody has actually expected. Actually, behind you, there's also actually was supposed to be sound, but this is some of the NFTs that I bought. It's not very clear because the spotlight is on it, unfortunately. But anyhow, you get some images of some of the NFTs. So I started collecting. And then, of course, in April, we had the very famous Bored Ape Yacht Clubs. You have actually seen already the images. Now the bottom price is around 30 Ethereum, which is roughly 100,000 US. And actually, I was sitting behind my computer. My wife already not happy that I already spent a lot of Ethereum buying art, which she didn't understand. And then during one weekend, the ape were launched. And actually, I came very much with an art background. In Indonesia, where I lived, I had a collection of Indonesian artists. And so I very much came from that artistic view. And actually, I remember I was a little bit upset about it. Because I said, hey, this is a derivative project. People are chasing art. Is this art? No. And then another thing is, suddenly for 2 weeks, the whole clubhouse was talking about bored apes. And I got these messages from artists, and they questioned me for, hey, Frank, nobody wants to hear us anymore. So, and unfortunately, the result is that I didn't buy any ape. Unfortunately, but I bought some other great artists. From then, I kept on collecting. And for me, to be so early in this space has been so special. Later I'm very keen to introduce Lion Vries. He is from Zimbabwe. His Instagram name is Vintage Mozart. I started chatting with him in April, and I think I bought his first or second 101 that he ever sold. And now, when Vintage Mozart is dropping, his work is sold out in a minute. So to go through that journey with those artists, I think many of you bought the artwork of Harry Peck, that we did a special Star Fairy edition. I know Harry's similar thing from April, and he was struggling. He nearly wanted to throw his iPad. He didn't know how to pay his rentals. And now suddenly he has been twice featured in OpenSea, and he made in 6 weeks 150 Ethereum, which is more than $400,000 US. So he has no clue what happens to him and his life. And I think that's the beauty. I think there are 4 images, maybe you can show the 4 images. Yeah. You see Elon Musk, that's the piece I bought when Elon and Elon Musk and people were tweeting together. That I bought on 16th of March. On the right top you see the work I bought from Vintage Mozart in April. On the right bottom you see Eddie Gangland. And this is not financial advice, but for those who are interested, buy still a skull of him. Because actually Eddie launched his collectible beginning of April, and every night at 11 o'clock, he was releasing 5 pieces. My band, I live in Saikul, my bandwidth is very bad, so only after 5 days I managed to buy 2. Since 3-4 days, or actually the last week, they are taking off, and actually to me, they are the first real collectible in the new space, even before the Bored Apes. So that's Eddie's. Then you see a mutant Bored Ape. Okay, I missed the Bored Ape. So 2 weeks ago I told myself, let's at least get the little brother, the mutant ape in my collection, because it's part of history, and ultimately I didn't want to miss out. So maybe to wrap it up, why I believe in digital art. I believe, and I see a number of you watching their phones. We have a 15, 16-year-old son. His life, sometimes to my frustration, is all about screens. The phone, the YouTube, the gaming. And I just believe that the future generation wants to see screens. They do not want to have a static piece of art on the wall that hangs there for 5 years. They want a full LED, LCD screen on their walls where they can be interactive, studying, playing games, enjoying art, enjoying music. So I believe next to NFT arts, we will see a tremendous growth of screens in the future. The quality also, what I can see now, is unbelievable. So it's also where we can display the digital art. So that's why I really believe that digital art is going to be a major art form in the world. Also what we see, you get a whole different kind of artist entering the space, a digital artist, who is by nature different than a traditional artist making paintings or whatever kind of an art form. So actually this is the end of my story. So unfortunately I cannot do a Q&A, but I'm going to introduce Liam Fries, also called Vintage Mozart. We have 5 of his works here on sale, and I would like actually everyone also to invite later to have a look to the screen, to a more stronger pixel. Actually he is one of the foremost African artists, next to Obo. Obo is another good friend of mine. I see him immigrating within, Lime, I don't know if you hear this, but I see him immigrating within 1 year. Their careers are taking off, and it's just, this is I think the beauty of digital art, that any artist from around the world can find a global audience and can be successful. So with that, actually, I like to end my side of the story, and I would like to maybe ask Vintage Mozart if you can tell us about your journey, why you started, your experiences over the last 4 or 5 months, and where do you think that digital art is going to. Thank you very much for all for attending.
commonly known as Vintage Malta on the internet, and I've been a digital, I specialize in Afrofuturism and Afrosurrealism, and I'm a digital art artist, and I've been a digital artist for about 11 years or so now. I've been in the NFT space for since January, around there. And I think Frank gave a very, very good introduction. He's actually, yes, he is my second year older, like a one-on-one. And when we started collecting my work, like this was like in the beginning, I wouldn't say Frank was like a collector. He's also been like, should I say, part of the team for me as well. Like he's been giving me advice on the side. And I would say he gently started talking to me because he was my first ever collector interaction, which is pretty cool. Like I wasn't very successful in terms in the normal digital art, in the normal art space because I was a digital artist, even though I can paint. But this is where I felt my calling was because I love to do motion in my pieces and like to test the barriers. And yeah, that's primarily like my intro. But I can say for myself, I'm from Harare, Zimbabwe, and I am one of the co-founders of the African NFT community, which is a community of artists from Africa. And the objective of the community is we find collectors that like to collect African art, and we give free artistic showcases for African artists within the space, and we educate African artists within the space about crypto, NFT onboarding, etc. Like we were one of the first people, so we thought it would be a great idea that a lot of the artists that are coming into the future, since we're in the beginning of the space, do not need to go through the same hurdles like what I have gone through in the beginning. Like for example, talking to your collectors, listing your work, or even promoting it as well. So a lot of artists struggled with artistic etiquette, and I was very fortunate that Frank talked to me right in the beginning of the stage and introduced me to Lavina as well. They've been very good in terms of communication. And I always say this, that as an artist, you never ever want a handout. You always just want an opportunity, and this is exactly what I'd say art partners and project art have given to people like me. And I'm also one of the community managers at Umbadima, and Umbadima is a creative agency that also helps Black artists as well. Right? This is more on the business side, but they run Black NFT art as well, so they do a lot of exhibitions and galleries, and we just did something at Atlanta right now, so it's 23 artists, and it was pretty cool. It was our own custom-built gallery. Done so a lot of artists in the showcase, it was done on foundation. I think all platforms were it's done a foundation on an auction basis, and it was pretty successful, considering all the artists that participated in the space. And to briefly talk about my art, when I was doing this project, it was pretty cool when Frank brought it up to me in the Vina, and they introduced me to Ruan, the project art team. I don't want to list names for person. And while we were curating the pieces, a lot of my work, I used topographic lines to show inspiration of regions that I was inspired from. So a lot of the stuff is global maps, and I projected in my own method, and I used like Cantonese, or either it's Japanese symbolism inside it, just to portray messages of like what the piece meant to me in that moment in time. And I think most common in pieces right now, I'm sure it's not wind, fire, and water, and it was like 4 elements, considering that it was for the natural atmospheric conservative. So I wanted to have something that was more nature-centric and more to heart to home. That's the way I could put it. So all the pieces were curated in mind, especially like for the exhibit, and there was like a lot of passion that went into them. And each piece I tried to make them slightly different so people can have like a little bit of a feel on me. And I would say with the guidance of Frank and Lavina, they helped me get out of my comfort zone in terms of curation. Like I'm not a person who does a lot of animals, and they tried to get me out of my box, and which was a pretty cool experience, I could say. And I'll probably do something more in the future, testing myself as an artist. But I'd say the NFT space, sorry, I'm just trying to go through everything at once. I'd say the NFT space, the greatest thing about it has been, it's given me an opportunity to extend myself as an artist and grow. I can see like a better future like for myself like years on, because I'm very, very passionate about the industry, and then now I have an opportunity to make an impact, not just as an artist, but also as a philanthropist in assisting other people, which is what I love to do. And the main reason I got onto this project was, when it was pitched to me, was the fact that I was in Africa, and when I was reading about what the project was about, I was like, this is a pretty great idea. Besides the environmental factors that having an impact in NFT is like being involved in this, and I do think these are some of the important things that are given an opportunity to display to people that this is me emotionally on paper, this is what I represent, and like this is my culture and my lifestyle, and it's so cool that people are investing in you for this kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that's covered by it. Not too sure if there's questions or anything.
Thank you, Lion. So we're going to close you. Thank you so much.
I hear you.
Okay. So how can I talk to him? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks everybody. Appreciate it.
Is this one working?
Yeah. Doesn't sound.
So you see the digital space is going faster than analog space. So. All right. Yes, here we are. All right, so it's a pity we can't communicate with Lion. I'd like to thank the presenters from Genesis Block very much. Thank you so much for being here. Anyone who has questions how to buy cryptocurrency, they are walking around here, please ask them. It's very easy, so just go and approach them, and they're more than willing to help you. So actually, I'd like to give still 5-10 minutes for anyone who has a question in relation to what you have heard this evening. Is there any question? No questions? Everyone understood. So thank you so much, all of you, and thank you, Roy, and the team for giving us the chance to present Vintage Watch. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your drinks. Thank you.
I'm glad everything's sorted out.
Sorry?
I'm glad everything's sorted out.
So, I think, it's working, right?
Is it working here? I thought you used Google Authenticator. You use this instead?
I'm using this one.
Okay.
Genesis one. I scanned it. So
Yeah, I guess you can use it. Yeah, that's fine. I personally use Authenticator because it's just a lot easier. It's a lot easier for me.
But this is authenticated.
Authenticate, one last pass is also Authenticator, but for me, I just use it. It's so much easier. Yeah.
Now I have to pay. So these are also
Thank you.
the photo really had no changes. Something anyways, that intrigued me about the
say that. Don't say that. You're a crypto, Bye.